Hi guys, welcome back to The Vegan View. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about why so many vegans fail to stay vegan. So, what are your thoughts, guys?
Well, I will say, I feel like we all have collectively gone through this, and probably most of you at home too who are vegan, that you have that one friend or a couple friends who at some point come to you and they're like, I'm eating vegan now, aren't you so proud of me? And there's always that little hope, and then you check in with them in a couple weeks and they're like, oh yeah, I went back to eating fish, or oh yeah, I'm not vegan anymore.
I just couldn't do
57 recipes later, they're like, send me recipes. There you are.
Yes. And you get so hopeful and you try to do the best you can and try to get them, but there's obviously something that's not clicking. So
I personally feel like it's because those people lack discipline, and they also don't have a why. They don't really know why they're truly doing it. Me personally, I will never ever ever eat animals or eat their bodily fluids because I feel like it's wrong, and I don't feel like I'm supposed to be putting that into my body. So it's a non-negotiable for me. I know why. I'm not going to eat something that was tortured and killed and murdered and raped and mistreated. I'm just not.
Yeah, I think you have a great point. It really does come down to the why. I mean, self-discipline, I feel like I don't really have great self-discipline. I'm not going to judge anybody on that.
With that part of your lifestyle.
Yeah, but to me, it's not even a matter of self-discipline, because it truly is so much about the why that it would be, at this point, it would just be so weird to eat meat casually because it just doesn't register in my mind as food anymore. I'm so far removed from it.
I mean, I've had those friends that have done that multiple times, have come to me and, it's a new year, I'm going to go vegan. And I have one friend in particular that's done it 3 times. And at this point, I'm like, okay, cool, right. But again, it's because it's about getting skinny, or it's about something superficial. I just don't believe that your reason can be superficial. It has to come down to, like you said, for me, it's ethical. I don't have self-discipline when it comes to food. I'm stuck in chocolate. I'm ordering veggie roll 4 times a week. So it's not discipline. It's just purely ethical. I don't want to contribute to hurting animals. So you have to be passionate about what your reasoning is, especially when you have everything going against you in grocery stores and the commercials that you see every day. They're pushing meat in your face, and they're pushing animal products in your face constantly.
And the people around you. Just trying to, when you start any type of challenge or anything that you want to do to better yourself, unfortunately, there's always people around you who are like, why are you doing that? Or, oh, come on, stop it. They don't want you to do something that I think they couldn't see themselves doing. Because otherwise, why would they do that? I've never, looked at someone who wanted to go vegan and were like, oh, stop it, it'll be hard. I'm always like, yeah, of course, totally. We don't need help, So if someone's already on that journey and they know that they can do it themselves, I think they're more likely to encourage someone else to do it as well.
And the thing is, again, you have to be, like I said, passionate about the reason why you're doing it, because you probably more than likely are going to be one of the only vegans in your friend group or whatever situation, unless you're extremely lucky. So if you are very strong in your reasoning about why you're doing it, nothing can sway you, and nothing can ever break you. You know, I just think that if it's oh, I'm not putting that toxic stuff in my body, I'm not hurting animals anymore. All those people and what they say will mean nothing to you.
Literally.
But whereas if it's coming from oh, I'm just not eating this right now because I want to lose weight and I want to look a certain way, you're going to go out with those friends, they're going to be like, come on, it's fine, just eat this. And then you're not, what reason do you have to not eat it?
Right.
And people do things in phases. It's just, for a lot of people, it's just a phase for them. For that point in their life, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I read this, and oh, this is hip and cool and trendy. When you're following trends and stuff, look at all of us. We didn't follow the trend. We did what we felt was right for animals and for the world and for ourselves. And look, now we have a bunch of vegan milks, a bunch of vegan meats and all that stuff, and there wasn't that. We stuck it out. We didn't do it when it was cool.
Right? Yeah. And if you look at it as a diet or something that you're just going to do to lose weight, like, you're probably going to have trouble unless you're the world's most disciplined person and you can stick to something like all the time, which is like, we're all human. It's difficult, but if you have your why down, which for me is ethical, and I think usually that's for most vegans, most real vegans, that's the real reason. Or maybe they went vegan for some other reason and then they came to the ethical side of it, and now that's a really big part of it. You don't deviate from that. You're not like, oh, I care about animals, but I'm just gonna cheat here and there. Like, no, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. You don't cheat on your ethics. You don't do that. It's just part of who you are. So it's not even a question for you anymore if you're doing it for the right reasons.
What do you guys think about those vegans that have claimed that it was for ethical reasons, or on their social media they'll be very vocal about like, animal rights and I don't want to contribute to this pain and suffering of animals, and then now they're not vegan and they're posting that they're eating steaks and they're eating eggs and they're eating this and that.
That's something I call pump faking. Pump faking. You never meant what you said. You never meant what you were fighting for. You never really meant that.
Even when they were saying it in that moment, they didn't believe it. They were just literally just like repeating.
I think they thought. I think that I'm sure that there's some people that are just blowing smoke for like. If we're talking social media, let's be honest. Veganism gets clicks. Like, it gets views. There's a lot of ways to make money. Like, doing things on veganism. And honestly, I think we'll talk about that in another episode. But I feel like social media is one thing. I think there are people in real life who genuinely think that they are ethically aligned, and they're not. At the end of the day, when it comes to social pressures and like things like that, they value those things more in their life than they do the animals, and they go back. Because like, I have known people who have been so ethical, like, in my mind, because I've had conversations with them where they were like, to me, I was like, they would never like eat meat again. Like, they're so ride or die vegan, and then they go back to eating meat and dairy, and it's so crazy to me because I thought that they were ethical, and it's not like I was like, it wasn't like a social media person. It was like somebody I know in my real life, and like I can see through, Who
are the people that can mimic human emotions in order to fit in with society? Is it sociopaths? Okay.
I think a lot of times it has to do with like social pressures. Like, cognitive dissonance is a real thing. At one point in all of our lives, we knew that like deep down we loved animals, but we still ate them, and like we were able to remove that part of it from, like, I remember I would eat burgers all the time, but if someone would moo next to me and be like moo, or like make a comment about how the fact that like what I'm eating is a cow, I couldn't finish it. But I would eat them all the time. Like, I'd turn around the next week and eat a burger. It was just like I wasn't connecting the two. And I think people, whether it be their family is pressuring them, maybe it's not about the veganism. Maybe they feel left out in life, and
they prioritize that.
Prioritize feeling secure and feeling included in like social settings over the veganism.
Which, to be fair, it is a lot of pressure, and at certain points it's broken me in social situations, or like at work where I'm the only vegan, and it's like I'm dealing with people fighting and arguing with me nutrition facts and this and that, and I'm standing there alone having to defend myself. And like, I'll fight, I have no problem with it, but there are people who maybe don't want to stand there and fight all the time about what they're eating. So eventually I think, unfortunately, for some people, that can build a lot of resentment towards veganism. And then they're like, well, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be normal and be a part of like what everyone else is doing, and just live an easy life, which is unfortunate.
But we talked about compassion fatigue with Ellen from Deity Rescue. We have a great episode with her. You should definitely watch that. But she talks about how in like the rescue world, you experience compassion fatigue because you see so much darkness in the world, and just it feels hopeless. It feels like there's no end to it. And I wonder if some people who consider themselves ethical vegans kind of go through that, where they're like, like, what I'm doing isn't helpful, and this is just making me, more upset and angry, and I don't like this version of myself, and so they feel like going back to eating meat will just take that all away if they can just put those blindfolds back on.
And just
but
fit
it's
in
hard.
With everybody
it's
else.
hard once you know. It's hard to not unknow what you already know. I feel like it's so difficult. So what
How do they do that?
So I think my explanation for that is like, going back to what you said, Melina, about people who will post the things and it seems like they're ethical vegans and then they're not. Maybe tying that into like just social pressure, maybe even from vegans. Like maybe they follow a bunch of activist vegans or a bunch of vegans who post things about animals all the time. They feel like, oh, I'm vegan. Yeah, that makes me upset. Okay, I'll repost that. And like maybe it's not something like genuine that they want to be posting all the time. And this isn't to say like, if you're ethical vegan, you normally are posting that stuff all the time. It's, what you post on your social media doesn't display how you feel on the inside. It's just social media. It's not real life, all the time. But maybe it is just like a pressure because they feel vegan and they need to be included in this veganism. And now maybe they have vegans that follow them or they're following vegans and they're just reposting stuff that, they feel bad about. People who eat meat generally are like sad about dogs getting hurt. They're sad about cats being hurt. Like they'll see a slaughterhouse video and they'll be like, oh, that's really sad, damn. And then they kind of like,
And then they go, turn it off. I don't want to look at it as if it makes it less real.
It's rare, unless someone's trying to get a reaction out of you, it's rare that people look at that and just think, whatever, it doesn't really bother me. Like normally, even if they're eating meat normally, it does bother people. So I think it's also just like a pressure, but I think just the why was never there to begin with. So full circle to the why. That's really important.
You have to have it. I also think like there are times where, I have friend groups where I am literally the only vegan. Like there's not even another vegetarian in the mix. Like I am the only one with like special dietary needs. So like going out to eat can be frustrating because if I'm not the one planning it, we're gonna go to a place that has a salad for me and like that's the option, and it's like there are times where I'm just like, oh God, like it's just frustrating. And luckily I have you guys and I have like, my husband, I have like a really strong vegan foundation of vegan people in my life that like make me feel like I'm not crazy, but I feel like if I lived somewhere where, I didn't know a single other vegan person, that would be so hard. I would feel like I'm constantly being gaslit. Like my reality is not real.
Right.
Because everybody else around me is like, eating meat like it's no big deal. And then you start to question yourself.
And that can be really hard. Like I have compassion and empathy for people who are in those circumstances and like, it's,
and they're staying true.
Yeah.
And they're like powering through it and they really know their why, even if they live somewhere where they don't have friends. There aren't a lot of vegan options or much less vegan restaurants. Like you said, it can be lonely sometimes. So just
like how lucky are we that us four women, we're the same age, we live in the same city, and we're all passionate about being vegans. Like this is really rare and beautiful.
And we recognize how lucky we are. I know we see a lot of your comments and how isolated most of you are and how even your grocery stores don't have like any of the options that we have in LA. So we definitely like live in a bubble and we're so grateful and we're so lucky. So I can't even imagine. It's like somehow living in LA, I've dealt with so much pressure from people who aren't vegan, bullying me all the time, like at my jobs and stuff. So I can't imagine living somewhere like Middle America, wherever you guys are, and
or in another country,
or in another country. Like you guys are probably dealing with that 10 times worse than we are in certain situations. Because at the end of the day, I still have like you guys to come to and be like, you guys won't believe what this person said to me, and I have someone to vent to.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, you guys see us as someone to vent to.
Yeah,
when you have a situation.
You can always vent in the comments.
We are here for you. Always.
So I definitely feel like lack of support is definitely a reason why. People.
I do think like maybe I'm wrong in this, but I do feel like most vegans I've met were like an outcast at some point in their life. Like they, were bullied in school, or they were like
your
a
hand
little.
If you were. I've always been weird.
Yeah, I've always been weird. I was like the weird theater kid, like never talked to anyone, and like I was really, really shy growing up, like really shy. So like I'm used to kind of being like alone and the outcast.
So, and kind of taking a different path.
Yeah. But I think for some people, if they grew up like, always blending in and like never standing out and never feeling like that spotlight, like that could be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, I got bullied so bad in middle school, I had to move schools by this girl.
I moved schools.
I had to move schools because of this girl, and no one wanted to be my friend. It was really
What was her name?
And
this bully.
I'm not saying her name because she doesn't deserve
that attention.
But anyways, no, I'm so over it now. I'm doing so much better than she is.
I would say her name.
But anyway. But the point is like, I think I'm having a light bulb moment right now. Maybe that's why I'm so able to defend myself and I really don't care about being isolated, is because I already went through that once in my life with being bullied and not having friends and having to move schools and going through something traumatic like that, this, being vegan and being alone in this means nothing to me. It's like, I've already done this. I don't need you. Like, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. So I get that.
Yeah. When I was bullied, it was mostly in elementary school, and it was, I think, I don't want to call it innocent bullying. It's not, I don't think any kind of bullying is innocent. But it wasn't like, to a point where I had to move schools. But I feel like I was always like getting in fights with girls because of cliques and just like girls being mean girls, and then like everybody else just kind of like following them and be like, oh well, whatever, that's just the way they are. I mean, going like, no, I don't want to hang out with her. She's being mean. Like, just like kind of, and then having like to do my own thing, like at lunch or at recess, because like, no, I'm not, she's just said something mean to someone. Or like, oh, they're all hanging out and they're leaving out like these other two people. It's like no.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah. I really think that. I feel like I've felt that way for a while, and it's just like the more in my life I've noticed like people that go back from being vegan and, they're like, oh, I'm not vegan anymore, I'm eating meat. It's like those are the people who like I really feel like they grew up popular. They never really had any like, moments where they felt alone, and so that loneliness is so confronting for them. And I think like that's a whole other thing that they would need to explore. But I think because we've been there before, it's comfortable for us. Like
it also like, not to justify it in any way, but it kind of gives you a little bit of strength to overcome something like that, and to have something to reference and look back on and realize that you're going to be just fine on your own and you don't need anybody else to stand with you.
You'll find your people.
Find your people. But you're right. A lot of these people, they probably the thought of like not being popular and not fitting in and not being liked,
being the odd one out,
like if they haven't experienced it, it's probably the one most traumatic, most like this can't happen to me thing. And when you're vegan,
especially
it's gonna
growing
happen.
up, right? Like that's when like that kind of stuff matters the most, is like how you're treated by your peers or how you're seen by your peers. It's like everything we do essentially is a way of communicating with other people, like how, especially at that age, like how we dress, what we say, like even our grades in school. Like if you go to a school where it was like cool to get good grades, and it's like you're communicating to your other kids, it's like, oh look, I'm really smart too. Like if you're going to a school where like everybody slacks off and you don't care, then like getting good grades is like, ew, like you're gonna care that much. It's like, so we're always communicating with others, and the moment we step away and we do something that we feel is right, or we're just doing something to try it out and like we're ridiculed, or we're people like pointed out that we're doing something different, it's just like, oh, I'm not suddenly following everything that you're saying. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. And like it is hard.
That's just like
really, it's hard.
Inherent in veganism, like you will stand out. Like you are going to, there's no doubt going to be multiple instances in your life where you have to be like the odd one out. And like sometimes that can feel like you're a burden to people too. Like, oh, they have to like worry about how to feed me, and I hate that they like have to think about it. I hate that people are like looking at the menu for me like, oh, Hannah, there's a vegan chicken on here.
Like maybe I already called the restaurant. I already know what's vegan. Like,
I already pre-ordered my meal.
But at the same time, like, if it was like the other way around, and like I had like a friend or there was someone in the group who I knew was like allergic to nuts or something, like I would go out of my way to be like, by the way, like they have things for you. So like I get like that it could be like a burden for you to be like the vegan in the group, but also like we're friends, like deal with it. Like this is the package. Like I am vegan, like you are, I'm sure, inspired by me. One day you might go vegan too. Have some of my meal. And it's like, and it's good anyway that we're supporting establishments that have a vegan option. So if they're looking and they're going like, hey, there wasn't anything here, but there's something here, let's go here instead, then cool. Like whatever.
And like we've all been vegan for like 7+ years, like each, 12 years? What are you at now? I don't know, forever. We've all been vegan for a really, really long time. So I don't know about you guys, but I definitely feel like I'm so solid in my conviction and my ethics that I don't really, it's not even something I think about ever really. But I will say that like there are times where I'll like see like a little like, IGTV or like a little TikTok, and I'm like, and like a fire's lit under my ass, and like I remember the why again, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like refreshed. And sometimes I wonder if people just, they watch the one documentary, they're super moved to go vegan, and then they just kind of forget. They lose it. Like I think it's kind of important to stay immersed in that, like follow creators that inspire you and like, make you feel like, and you're still like getting new information. I mean, we're still getting new information all the time about like why veganism is better. So
yeah,
I guess it just blows.
I
think it just, for me personally, it just blows my mind how like people can like just switch up, because I'm just like, there's no like, oh my God, like ignorance is bliss, but when you actually know the information, you still choose not to.
And you've said these words, like I'm not, like you were saying earlier, Alessandra, like I'm not even talking about the vegans who like will repost other like animal rights stuff. It's like words that I've heard come out of their own mouth about like, I don't want to hurt animals and it's unethical and it's wrong and it's bad for it. Like, you know, like that type of, and it's just like, you're saying it and I believe you, and then now you're turning around and you're posting a steak and I'm like, what, how did you do that? Are you the most amazing actor in the world? Like what?
I just feel like a lot of people these days, they just aren't solid anyways. Like they're not really who they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, stand for something, fight for something. Like, what do you believe in? Like, or do you just go with what, you know, what
everyone else is doing?
It's not cool to be apathetic to things. It's not cool to just like not care about things and just go with the flow all the time and have nothing to stand for.
Right.
Like the most inspiring people, I think, vegan or not, are the people that are passionate about something. The people that come out and they say like, hey, like I'm fighting for this, and I'm fighting for like animal rights, I'm fighting for like female rights, I'm fighting for, you know, this in a specific country. Like I'm bringing light to this situation. This is a bad situation. I want people to know about it. Like that passion, that the thing that moves people is generally like wanting someone else to be in a better situation, like either wanting people or animals to be in a better situation because they find themselves in a situation that is unjust and like not right. So they're bringing light to that. And those are the most passionate people. Those are the people that inspire people. Like I've never like looked at someone who's just been like, yeah, I don't really care about anything. I've been like, wow, I want to be like that. No, never. Like, even if that feels cool because that's like your group setting and everyone's like, whatever. It's like, that's lame.
Now that I think of it, all the people that are like, ignorance is bliss, like I don't want to see that or whatever, I'm like, you're literally, if you read between the lines, saying, I don't really care about anything.
Or they're saying, I know it's wrong, I just don't want to know that it's wrong.
Which is worse to me almost than like saying you just don't care about anything. Just like, what is your purpose then? I don't know.
Do you
care about something? You know, even if it's not veganism, just care about something in this life. Like help people, help animals, help.
But hopefully,
we only get one shot.
Hopefully, it is veganism.
Do you feel like for some people it's just pure laziness? Like they don't want to go the extra mile to like get the vegan versions, or you know, think about replacing this, or you know, I feel like
I think it can be overwhelming for people. I think sometimes people like think too much about it. They think too hard about it. Like,
true.
And like. Honestly, and I know we've talked about this before, that like when people go vegan and they eat one meat or one dairy thing, they're like, oh, I'm not vegan anymore. Why not just have that be like your last hurrah and still continue on being vegan? That's okay.
It's like they were discouraged by
we've all been there. Like we've all like, you know, when we first started going vegetarian, like we all eased into it. Like it's okay. Like,
but even so, even if you go like 3 months and you were like perfectly vegan, and then you have that one day where you accidentally eat something that's not vegan, or you get tempted because you're out with your friends, whatever the situation is, most people
keep going.
They do this thing where they're like, oh, I'm not vegan anymore because I had food. And it's like, okay, but that was one day. So the next day you can just continue. Like, it's not like, but that's the problem, I think, with a lot of the pressure coming from vegans, is that if you're not perfect, you're not a real vegan and you're a failure and you failed.
And to clarify, because there was a comment on another video where we were talking about the same thing, and we were preaching the same stance that like, you know, if you mess up, like, okay, get back on, like, not the metaphorical horse that we're not riding, get back on the horse and go vegan. But then someone made a comment about like, oh, it's not lax like that, you can't just like be vegan and like eat meat every now and then. It's like, no, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, if you make a mistake, just try again. Do it. Like, go vegan. Just keep eating vegan. Don't get discouraged by the one time that you had something either accidentally or you gave in.
It's
like,
not like
start spiraling.
It's not being like, oh, I'm gonna call myself vegan and I'm gonna like scream it from the rooftops and wear vegan on my shirt every day, and then I'm secretly gonna eat steak on the weekends because I like it. It's not that.
Exactly.
Like, if you make a mistake or you just feel tempted and you effed up, that doesn't completely knock you out of the game. Like, you have the rest of your life to make better decisions. Tomorrow's a new day.
Exactly.
And I think
eat vegan.
And temptation, like, is normal. I mean, at this point, like, for us, like, it's not. Like, I'm not tempted to eat a steak ever. And if I'm tempted to eat a burger, I'll have a vegan burger, because vegan burgers are freaking great, and there's so many alternatives. But, like, if you're not there yet and you're not accustomed to making the choices and going to the market and knowing what to look for and knowing what to ask the waiter, things like that, then, you know, and you make a mistake, just try again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's building a new habit, and it's essentially relearning how to eat. And all of a sudden, like, you're having to pay attention to what you're eating and reading ingredients and doing all that stuff. So I think that we just need to stop obsessing with the title vegan and people being vegan, because at the end of the day, we can't forget that this is about animals and reducing their suffering and focus on that. Like, if one person messes up one day and has a chocolate chip cookie that had milk in it after they're freshly vegan and they're trying to like learn the ropes, don't scream at them that they're not vegan. Oh, well, you're not really vegan. It's like, what does it matter? Why are we even talking about the person and what they do and whatnot? The next day, they can continue to reduce animal suffering.
We can't shame these people because then they feel bad. And it's like, if you hadn't shamed them, then maybe the next day they would have been fully vegan again. And then look at how many animals you would have saved just in that one day.
I literally know somebody who has like a little bit of a social media following, and she was vegan for a while. She like posted her grocery cart, and there was like a box of like cookies that she thought were vegan, but there was like egg in it. That happens to us all the time. It's so deceiving. Like you in your mind, you'll think a brand is vegan, and then you turn it over and you're like, what? There's eggs in that? I could have sworn that brand was vegan. So, you know, or they have like different like types of cookies that like one might be vegan and one might not. Anyways, her DMs were just full of people like, you're a fake vegan. Like, those cookies aren't vegan. Like, so rude. And like, you know, I think a few months later, she's no longer vegan. And it's like,
probably
she's so overwhelmed by it. She's like, I just feel like everything I'm doing is wrong. I just feel like I can't do it right. And I'm like, that sucks.
And then at the end of the day, you're causing more harm by attacking those people and being like, you're not actually vegan, you're a liar, you're a fake. And it's like, now you've created resentment towards veganism. You've taken away the whole entire purpose of this, which is for the animals. And what's your end goal, really, when you attack people like this? Why are you making it about yourself? And why are you policing people so much?
And I know we come off like sassy, you know, we have opinions and we definitely are not afraid to share them. But at the same time, like, we definitely would never be like in somebody's comment section or in somebody's like DMs being like, you're fake vegan. We don't care that much.
Exactly. Like, point it out. Like, if you realize that someone's eating something that's not vegan, like, they probably don't know. They're like, hey, like, did you know that's like not vegan? Or blah, blah, blah.
Like, I just learned that. Oh my God, I had no idea. Like, you make them feel better about it.
Like, I'm still vegan. I thought that was vegan. Oh shit. Okay, I'm not gonna have that anymore. I'm moving on now. On the flip side, there are some influencers out there who like claim to be vegan. Like, maybe they don't have their why. They're really just plant-based.
Right.
You know.
Eggs and salmon.
Or they'll be like, vegan, blah, 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 blah. And then like sometimes they'll just eat something that they know is not vegan. It's like, but I'm just like having it like because I like it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like I don't want, it's difficult, and it's like a gray area because it's like, you can find an alternative. Like, you know that's not vegan. And at that point, if you do it again and again and again, and people are calling you out because it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't a once or twice thing where it's like you didn't know. If you're doing it again and again and again, and people are saying like, oh, that's not vegan, blah, 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 where are you eating that? Then it's not the people who is calling you out's fault.
And
it's
first of all,
yours
just stop.
at that
if you
point.
like eating like that, then just stop calling yourself vegan.
It's not.
Do you, boo?
Like, if you're purposely eating things that aren't vegan because you think it's okay, or you think that thing that you're eating doesn't really matter because I like it, so it's not doing any harm.
I'm doing it every once in a while.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's great that you're vegan most of the time. But it also I think it just gives veganism a bad name because then people who aren't vegan assume
that all vegans are like sometimes
that we're all cheating. It's all a diet, and we just like, but I'll have like Reese's Pieces like cereal because I just really like it. And it's like, get over it.
Well, there's this
peanut butter, not oxygen. You'll be fine.
YouTuber that I really like watching her videos, and for a while she was calling herself vegan, but I don't know what happened along the way. She just and I kind of respect her for this, because like you said, she stopped calling herself vegan. She said in her videos, she'll say, I eat 90% plant-based, occasionally I'll have eggs. She went to a doctor who told her that her gut issues would help to eat eggs.
I don't know how a chicken period.
I don't know
how cholesterol.
I have all the gut issues on the freaking roster, and I went to a vegan doctor and a vegan dietitian, and I feel great. Like, it's doable.
But I'm just like, I just respect that she stopped calling herself vegan because she took the pressure off herself from that title and from a lot of vegans who will go after her for whatever, and she'll have it occasionally. Like, it's not like every day, because there's some like ex-vegans who like went back to like eating eggs and salmon, and then it's like that's all they're eating is eggs and salmon every day.
Yeah.
So she does
We know those.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, she just eats like pretty much like 90% plant-based, and she says plant-based, and then very occasionally she'll eat eggs, but I think taking away the word vegan and calling herself that just allowed her to continue to eat plant-based and not get resentful about it.
And hopefully sometime in the future, I hope
she'll stop eating those eggs.
She'll stop eating them. She'll talk to like a nutritionist or someone who can help her that is more open-minded, knowledge about plants and how good they are for the body, and she can come back to being vegan. Yes, that's the hope.
So to wrap it all up, what would be like one advice that you would give to somebody who's like, I really want to go vegan, but like I just can't stick to it?
Try elimination. That's what worked best for me, and eventually it's going to become so second nature to you, because as you eliminate, you're going to be you're going to be learning about new foods. You're going to learn how to cook for yourself better, and that'll just become your new normal. And stop putting pressure on yourself. Like, it's not so much about the title and what you call yourself and how other people view you. It's about helping animals and ultimately just being healthier and taking care of yourself and the planet better. Like, it all ties into one. So I would say just stop putting so much pressure on yourself and take it day by day, and hopefully eventually be fully vegan.
Yeah, for me, I'd say just really focus on what your why is. What does it mean for you to be vegan? Why is it important to you? And once you like really grasp that, like, I feel like you could just take it on. And like Malina said, like, it's okay to slip up. Like, I remember when I first went vegan, like I had my first like family dinner or something, and I had an all vegan veggie meal, and then like there were like little desserts, and like I ate one, and I felt so bad after. I was like, dang, I shouldn't have gotten that. But that was habit for my whole life. And then now look at me 9-10 years later, and like I would never do that.
You can kind of like bring the lens back and look at it that way and see like, oh my God, like they're all connected. Like, so many of the things that we want to happen to make this world a better place, veganism is so at the core of it. Like, and that really helps, I think, understand why you continue to fight for it. So if you can understand that, then I think it will click into place. I also think just like on a food level, I feel like a lot of people that I talk to that say, oh, I couldn't stick to it, I was too hungry. They just weren't eating enough. Like, you gotta eat. Like, don't be afraid of the faux meats. Like, don't be afraid of any food. You know, food is not to be. You can kind of like bring the lens back and look at it that way and see like, oh my God, like they're all connected. Like, so many of the things that we want to happen to make this world a better place, veganism is so at the core of it. Like, and that really helps, I think, understand why you continue to fight for it. So if you can understand that, then I think it will click into place. I also think just like on a food level, I feel like a lot of people that I talk to that say, oh, I couldn't stick to it, I was too hungry. They just weren't eating enough. Like, you gotta eat. Like, don't be afraid of the faux meats. Like, don't be afraid of any food. You know, food is not to be
waiting.
Almost 12
don't
years.
Be afraid of potatoes.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of carbs.
Nothing's happening.
Carbs
Don't be
are
afraid of
energy.
Carbs
are energy.
Pasta's your friend.
Rice
Potatoes,
and beans,
rice and
veggies,
beans.
green veggies.
Like,
Food is
just
your friend.
Eat the food. Eat all the food. Eat
all
until
your
you're
food.
full. Like, you can't eat the way that you ate before with like a little tiny protein and the salad. Like, that's just not how, you know, it's gonna work.
I think that's a big thing that I
relearn.
realized also, to wrap it up. I just realized that a lot of people will obsess over portions because of counting calories.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to it.
Eat until you're full.
Yeah.
Like, just keep
Until you're
eating
full.
veggies, carbs, all of it. Just eat until you're full. Don't like limit and like obsess over like, oh, this is how many calories I'm supposed to eat. It's different. You're not gonna get as full.
And look, you guys, we're all alive and well and thriving, like, off eating a vegan diet
for many years.
Yes.
Like, come on, like, we have our hair, we have our skin, we have, you know, like, we're thriving over here. Like, you know.
Yeah, and like agree with everything you all said. And just to give another like food note too, is if you are used to eating a certain way, keep eating that way. Just find vegan alternatives.
Definitely.
If you eat waffles every single morning and you find it difficult now that you're trying to go vegan to have smoothies every morning, you don't have to have smoothies.
Have waffles.
Like, it's good for you, it's healthy, but if you were eating waffles before and that's the kind of life you want to live, eat waffles. Keep eating waffles. There's a bunch of waffles on the market that you could get that are vegan and they're gluten-free. Yeah. Like, just mimic what you already eat, and I think it'll be easy because then it won't feel like you're making such a drastic change and your body won't react in such a way. I think the detox will be less bad because detox is real. If you're eating a certain way and then you only eat super,
don't freak
super
out
clean,
and be like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like, no, your body's adjusting.
Yeah. Like if you like eating chicken with like your vegetables at night, then there's plenty of vegan chickens. Yeah, like watch our taste test videos. There's so many vegan chickens, like breaded, not breaded, like fatty, non-fatty, like different styles of chicken. Just like make some of that. Make some of that with some vegetables. You know, like load up on the vegetables and there you go. Or like, you know, try different things. Like just the world is your vegan oyster. You can make the most out of it with food, and food is so delicious. Like, I was not a foodie before going vegan. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like food. Like, I've always liked food, but like when going vegan, that's when I'm like,
fun.
Yeah, that's when I'm like, oh, oyster mushrooms, and people around me are like, oh, oyster mushrooms are so good when they're fried and they're dipped. Oh, yeah.
It's just
what
so
is that
creative.
quote? I forget the number, but I'm gonna exaggerate it. Like, there's like 50 million different plants and herbs and fruits and vegetables and stuff, and then there's like 5 different meats.
And
like,
then people say to us, what do vegans eat?
What do you even eat? So many different things. Yeah. What do you even eat like before going vegan? Like, I guarantee you ate like the same 5 things on rotation.
Exactly.
And like for fun would eat something else. But hey, if you want to eat that, if you want to eat that way though, if you want to eat 5 different things and just make them be vegan,
just do that. But
you do you. Just do it without hurting animals.
Yeah.
And I will say, watch Earthlings.
Yes.
Watch those documentaries.
Just watch Earthlings. Just watch it. It's educational. It's real.
Yeah.
It's just real, unfiltered. And for some people, that's what works. It's what worked for me. It's what's kept me vegan for as long as I have. So please just watch Earthlings. It still has the same effect that it had 12 years ago.
Is it on YouTube?
It's just earthlings.com. Just go to earthlings.com. I'm sure it's on YouTube as well. It's very easy.
Thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you want us to cover next.
Yeah, let us know why you think vegans fail in the comments down below. Because I'm sure you guys have personal experiences with this like we do.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's talk about it.
Thank you for spending your Monday with us.
Share this video with a friend.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.